Talk about a midnight snack. Anyways, which I highly recommend not doing. Anyways, the old good here, coming back at you with another exciting video. My Piezano pizza oven is heating up, and woo, first time turning this thing on. If you saw the videos prior to this one, basically what's going on is you're supposed to turn the oven on full blast for about 14 minutes. See, the cooking element is heating up. It's glowing now. What's happening here is you're basically seasoning the stone, and you're also helping to burn off any of the like lubricants or the machining oils or the other stuff that was used to make this thing. If you saw the video prior to this one in the instructions, it kind of goes through a little spiel here. Let's see, page 4, was that right? Yeah, page 4. It kind of goes through a little spiel here of like what you're supposed to do before you use it for the first time. And do follow those instructions very carefully. Basically turn it on, let it do its thing. The other key thing is the stone, right? The stone. Never, ever, ever let water touch that stone, meaning don't wash it in water. Don't take a soapy sponge to it, none of that stuff. The way you properly clean this thing is just get a brush, like a dry type brush, and just brush off the excess, whatever went on there. You don't have to scrape it off. Actually, the more it cooks, right, the more you use it over and over and over again, especially at that 800 degrees or whatever, what'll end up happening is all that burnt on stuff will eventually turn to like a powder, and you can just brush it off with like a soft brush that has no water on it. Key thing there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the lid again. Okay, so what I've got going on here now is I want to show you all how we're going to do our dough and our pizza and everything else. So let me pause for a second. I'm just going to get this area organized and I'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so the Piezano comes with these 2 pizza peels, and a lot of people are doing this incorrectly. What they're doing is, see these edges, right? These 2 edges right here? What they're doing is they're trying to do this thing, or they're trying to do like this thing. But actually, if you just invert one of them, you can actually do this thing, which I think is how it was meant to be, where you can go ahead and pick up your pizza and then put your toppings on or whatever. And then as you drop it onto the Piezano when it's ready to go, basically you open, and then from the center out, you just keep sliding out. That's how you get a good launch, let's say, or delivery of your pizza in there. So what I wanted to do was, I showed you all the dough. This was the Trader Joe's pre-made pizza dough. Basically, it comes in like a little plastic package. What you do is you take it out of the fridge, open it up, take the amount that you want. So one package will do about 3 of these like 8 to 10 inch pizzas, give or take, which I think is the perfect size. And that's also another thing too, is the pizza stone itself, I believe, is around 12 inches, but you don't want to go 12. If you go 12, you run the risk of like the pizza on the edge sticking to all that metal that's in there, which you don't want. You're going to create a huge mess. So just go a little bit smaller, like maximum, let's say 10 inches would be like a good, round number to kind of just play it safe where if the pizza expands or whatever, at least you got room to work with. So anyways, what I want to do is, semolina is your friend, right? So try to use a little semolina. Make sure your hands are washed and dried. Completely dried is better or best if you can do that. That way you don't run the risk of dropping water onto the stone. What happens is if that stone gets wet and then you sit it out and you say, oh, I'll let it dry, whatever, water still gets trapped in there. And then what ends up happening is when you turn your oven on and it reaches a certain temperature, that water boils, turns into steam, then eventually the stone might explode or it might crack or break. So that's why you don't want to let water get on the stone. No oil of any kind, none of that stuff. Semolina is your friend. So anyways, what I'm going to do is dry hands. I'm just going to get a little bit of semolina, put it on my fingers, kind of sprinkle it kind of all over, do a blessing of the granite, so to speak. And what I want to do is I just want to kind of pull, make sure my dough is still workable, right? It's pliable. I spread it all out. I did that whole thing. So now what I want to do is I want to get these and basically place them in that position, right, to where these 2 come together. Do y'all see that, right? Make sure they come together like this. So not like this, right? And not like this, right? Not like that either. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for one inverted onto the other. So now what I want to do is I want to lay these down. See if I can do this, get my dough out of the way. Okay. What's going to give me good slide action? What's going to give me the good slide action, like ball bearings, is going to be the semolina. So just a little sprinkle goes a long way, right? And just kind of do it a little sprinkle. So now I've got ball bearings down, basically, right? Now what I want to do is I want to take my dough, put my dough down like this, And basically the size of this is how big your pizza should be. So if you're going over, you could always trim off like an end. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull this, pinch this. These are real world situations here. So that's good. That's good enough for me. You know, like I said, we're just doing one kind of experimental pizza for now. We'll do the other one here in a second. But what I want to do is I want to just check it, make sure that it is going to slide. See how it's moving? Like the board's moving, but the pizza is kind of not. So I just want to make sure that it is going to slide. So when I go on the stone, right, it's going to completely separate. The dough is going to completely separate from these peels, right? These pizza peels. And basically as I pull, it's just going to go center out and it's all just going to lay down nicely. Okay, next step in the process is the sauce. You can use cooked down pizza sauce. You can make your own pizza sauce, whatever. I like Cento. It kind of has like a little sweetness, sourness to it. So it's kind of like a good little thing. Don't over sauce your pizza. Please don't over sauce it. We're going to count how many tablespoons. And this is actually crushed tomato in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the sauce, kind of start in the middle. Try to keep your surface as close as you can to where you're pouring and dumping from. But like that was 2 tablespoons. So basically with 2 tablespoons, now I'm just going to kind of go out in a circle. And this will make, like I said, one Trader Joe's dough ball will make, give or take, around like 4 to 5 ounce dough sized pizzas, which kind of translates into like, let's say, I would say maybe 3 Naples style pizzas that are like credit card thin. How thin is the dough right now? I would say I rolled this out to maybe, like probably about less than 1/4 of an inch. So I would say maybe like 1/8 of an inch thick is where I was at. Okay, another crucial step here, and I should go back, I kind of screwed up. But what you can do is before you put your sauce on, I'll show you on this one, what you can do is you can get one of these things, right? And you can actually roll this over your dough. So you're creating these little dimples. See those little dimples? What that does is that allows steam to vent through and pass through, but it also prevents the huge bubbling in the middle. You want the bubbles on the crust. That's totally fine. You want to get some nice little bubbly action on the crust, right? You want a nice raised crust, but you don't want that in the middle. Otherwise, what will happen is this will cook like a pita. It'll basically expand like a balloon, and that might hit the top heating element. So you don't want that. So basically you do that. If you've already got your sauce on, you screwed up, you can do what I do, which is basically take a fork and basically do one of these, right? It would have been nice if I did this before I put the sauce on, but you can basically get the idea here of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to do one of these things and basically just try to create like some little holes. You're not really necessarily pushing all the way through to the bottom. You just want to kind of poke some holes so that, you know, you're basically releasing the steam, right? Let some steam bend it. If you got that reference, go ahead and comment down below in the comment section. So anyways, I got that done. Okay, now it's time for the toppings. I'm pretty simple. This is going to be a pretty simple pizza. Trader Joe's, again, the hero of today's videos. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them or in any way, shape, or form. As of today, this is December 2024. But hey, Trader Joe's, you know, if you're watching this video, reach out to me. I could totally use some you know, partnership opportunities here. But anyways, this is basically going to be the bulk of my cheese. And like I said, if you look at the pizza, there's not a whole lot of sauce going on there, right? It's just very simple, very light. This is about all you need, 2 tablespoons. I would say if your pizza was a little bit bigger, you might want to go like 3 tablespoons, but less is more, trust me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some cheese. And again, I'm probably taking the equivalent of maybe 2 tablespoons or so, starting in the middle and just kind of working my way to the edges. And what's kind of crucial here is that you don't want to go over the edge, right? You don't want to put your cheese outside the boundaries of where the crust is, because if you do that, when you go to open up your 2 peels here, right, to lay it down onto the stone, what's going to happen is that cheese is going to go right on the stone and burn into the stone. You're going to get a nice black smoky mess, and then you're going to have to keep using it over and over and over again to kind of clean it off. It'll turn to powder. Remember from the beginning of this video? Okay, just saying. So anyways, that's about enough cheese. Maybe I might just put a little bit more just to kind of cover this. Get some here, like in the corner down there. But you kind of get a sense of what's going on there, right? I could use maybe like a little bit more here, maybe just a little bit more here. And the other thing is I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm leaving the edge as is because I want to get that beautiful crust on the edge. Okay, next ingredient. I happen to like this stuff. This is no nitrate, right? No nitrates or nitrites. This is uncured pepperoni from Trader Joe's. Again, it's already pre-sliced, so you get that thinness going on. What I'm going to do is just kind of lay down my pepperoni. You can make it fancy. You can kind of layer like one on top of the other if you want, or whatever, you know, whatever you're feeling that day or that mood or whatever. But I'm just going to do one of these. You know, I find like left to right works pretty good, or you can start in the center, work your way around and out, that kind of vibe. So I think I can squeeze in one more here, maybe one more if I layer like that. So this is pretty much my pizza, ready to go, nothing extra. What I could do, if you want to kick it up a notch, which is what I like to do, anchovy. Who doesn't like anchovies? Comment down below. Or if you like anchovies, comment down below and give me like a little fish icon so I know that you're like an anchovy person. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight in here. So let me get my clean fork. And I'm just going to get one anchovy. This is where things get interesting. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break this up a little bit. So I'm going to put like a piece here, maybe a piece onto each piece of pepperoni. Paper towels are your friend too. Always try to have some paper towels handy, because that oil on my hands is going to get really stinky here in a minute with the anchoviness. Oh, another key tip is try to wipe away as much excess oil as you can. Like, really, you're not supposed to get oil onto the pizza stone. So the less oil you put onto your pizza, the less oil is going to end up on that stone. So here we go. There's our anchovy done. I'm going to get a paper towel here. Go ahead and do a little quick wipe. Okay. Then this reminds me of a certain town near, what is it? It's Reggio Calabria or Calabria, basically. Mountainous, like cliffside town in, I would say, the other side, like the very toe of the boot of Italy. This kind of reminds me of those onions that you get out there that are kind of like that specialty. But what I've got here is this is a little more sour. It's got some sweetness. It's got some tanginess with the balsamic vinegar. This I got at Aldi, right? So there's, if you want to go ahead and check that out, right? Aldi, it's an Aldi product. What I want to do is just very light, just to kind of give this like a little bit of a little touch of that red onion. What I'm going to do, and by the way, remember, pizza oven is heating up. So whether this is your first time using the oven or this is like your 30th time using the oven, while your oven is preheating for those 10 minutes or so, which we're probably going to go over in a minute, it's totally fine if it goes over. Now's that time when you want to kind of prep your pizza, make it ready to go, all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of this red onion chutney here and just literally just a drip or so, give or take. You know, some you might go a little bit more, some you might go a little bit less. But again, I'm holding this over the pizza, if you can see, just so that in case there is any spillage or droppage, it goes onto the pizza, not onto the peel, right? And just kind of keeping everything kind of nice and cozy here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Here's another drop. Here's another drop. Right, kind of like a bigger drop, I guess. And then here's another little drop. Let's do one over there. Okay, there you go. So that is basically my pizza. I'm not going to add anything else to it. I feel like I'm at a point where I've got what I need. Got enough sauce, got enough salami, got enough everything else. If you wanted to do, like, let's say like a dry pizza, I know sometimes people make pizzas without sauce and they just want to do like a cheese, right? Or if you wanted to do like typical focaccia bread, right? Like in a lot of Italian restaurants, what they'll do is they'll do dough and then they'll put like anchovy and then they'll put some red onion just as is without any sauce. And that's like a different way of making a focaccia. You could also, I'm not a fan of this, but if you wanted to, you could put some dried oregano. If you are going to do that, my advice would be to, in a separate bowl, get some sauce, put your oregano in the sauce or in the tomatoes or whatever it is, and kind of mix that up so that the oregano has a chance to absorb some of the water or the moisture from the tomato sauce, so you don't choke on those dried oregano pieces while you're trying to eat your pizza after it's all said and done. When you take it out, there's another plethora of things you could do. You could sprinkle some of this on it, right? Some fresh, like 4 cheeses. You could put some chopped basil on it. You could drizzle it with some olive oil. But you want to make sure you take your pizza off of the stone put it onto like either a wooden cutting board or something similar or a plate, then go ahead and add whatever you want to add to it. Remember, keep the stone as dry as you possibly can. That's to help prevent the stone from exploding or cracking or whatever. Anyways, I think that's about it for this video. Stay tuned. I'm going to be back with another video shortly showing you the next progression in the process, and we'll see where we go. Anyways, if you like what you're seeing, there are links down below in the comment section, also in the description. I'm going to be back here pretty soon. So my one side already shut off, which means I think that was the top or the bottom. Is that right? That was the bottom is already shut off because the bottom has already reached critical mass, right? It's already gone to, like, it's going on and off because it's hitting that 800 degree and then shutting off. So it's kind of temperature regulating itself. I don't believe this oven does get to a true 800 degrees. I've seen other, research materials that kind of show like what's more realistic is around like 700 degrees or so. But this does feel toasty. So if it's wintertime and you're standing pretty close to it like I am, you'll feel the heat. Anyways, let me pause or we'll stop the video and I'll be back shortly to show you all the dropping of the pizza onto the stones and then we'll go from there. Anyways, I'll be back with another exciting video shortly.